Hey everyone, it's Ailin here. Today I wanted to record an Iridology video because I noticed that you guys really enjoyed that last one, and I just find Iridology so fascinating, and I just want to teach you guys more about it and how I use the eyes to relate to the different symptoms that people are feeling in their bodies, and how I use the eyes as well to create a diet and herbal protocol that's conducive to the healing and hydration and alkalinity of the body. So yeah, this video is pretty much going to be kind of like a case study. These eyes are of a client that I've been working with that has many different health issues, hundreds and hundreds of symptoms. This person is in a lot of incredible pain, incredible fatigue, incredible weakness. So we're going to see what's going on in their eyes today, and how it relates to their symptoms, and as well as their health history, the medications that they've taken, the surgeries that they've had done in an attempt to heal, but they haven't been successful all these years because they've been going down the wrong paths of healing. But thankfully now they have found detoxification, and they're going to start healing up their body by truly addressing the root causes. So yeah, I wanted to show you guys their eyes, and we're also going to take a look at their main symptoms, their main complaints, and the journey that they've taken so far before coming to see me. So with this person has a lot of weakness. They're not able to stand for long periods of time because they have incredible knee pains. And this person told me that these knee pains came about when they were very young. This person is around 40 years old right now, but in their teenage years, when they were going to the gym, when they were working out a lot every day, one day they felt an incredible sharp pain on the side of their leg. And that pain immediately, after a few moments, transferred to their knees and has been there ever since then. So that was the first clue for me of like what was going on. So you guys have probably heard me mention this in previous videos before, but when we see a person that starts to get pain in their joints, in their knees, especially after exercising or after rigorous exercise, if all of a sudden they get severe joint pain or knee pain, it's because their kidneys are not filtering. So through activity, through exercise, the body creates lactic acid. But exercise is no good to the body if the kidneys are not filtering and removing the cellular waste from the body. So then what happens is the acidity levels and the waste levels build up in the body, and then they begin to deteriorate the tissue, the connective tissue in the body, the muscles, the joints, the bones, everything is up for the grabs. And so the body's only way to defend itself against these acids, because the diet is not alkaline and hydrating and conducive for the kidneys to filter, its only way to fight this acidosis is to then leach calcium from the bones and from the connective tissues. And yes, here we see in this eye, this person's colon is very expanded, a lot of prolapsing and ballooning going on. So this is very common in people that have calcium loss from over acidity condition of the body. So as well as this person did mention that they have bladder weakness, they get bruising easily, they get depression, they have bone spurs, they have low bone density levels, osteoporosis. All those things are pointing to calcium being lost from the bones. So after that episode, after they got the joint pain, the knee pain, several years later, they went on to get knee surgery because they had to replace their ligaments in their knees, and they were also diagnosed with tendinitis. So these are all classic symptoms of a person's structure, their skeletal structure, their muscle structure deteriorating due to acidosis. Now, why is it that this person has so many acids to begin with? Well, if we look at this iris and the color of this iris, we can kind of see that they're supposed to have a lighter colored iris. You see? Now, it's quite difficult to tell at this stage early on their detox journey, but I do see hints of blue coming through. And in past cases where people have detoxed their bodies very well and have removed all this orange stuff, and this is sulfur right here, acidic sulfur. But going back to the eye color, after people detox deeply with the correct diet, with the herbal formulas, with a diet high in fruits, astringency to pull on the mucus, to pull on the lymph system, and addressing their gland weaknesses to help the kidneys to filter, then we see all this being pulled out of the body, all these acids, mucus, obstructions, and then the eye then corresponds with the cleaner insides, showing you the healing taking place inside the body. So yeah, I find this really fascinating. And this is a very classic condition. For people that have sulfur deposits, you'll always usually see it around the colon. So this is the colon wall, this is the bowel wall. And the shape of the bowel wall in a healthy colon should be perfectly circular, but we see dips, we see ballooning, we see spasticity going on in this colon. It's not a good colon. As well as expanded, it's expanded a lot, and you can also see it in this eye right here, definitely prolapsing right here of the lower region of the colon, as well as putting pressure on the other organs right underneath the lower portion of the colon. So people can have pressure on their bladder and uterus and really feel that too. So that's definitely going on here, but also cutting off the filtration of blood, nerve, and lymph flow to the legs as well. That's very common. This person has a major leg weakness. So we see why they were having that leg pain to begin with and why they can only stand just for a few seconds. But again, it is interesting because this person also said that even though they can only stand for a few seconds until they have to sit back down, the pain is too great, they can speed walk for quite a few minutes. For around 20 minutes they can do speed walking, and they can handle that. Now what that tells me is with movement, with speed walking, that is a form of exercise, but it's a form of exercise that provides relief momentarily in that moment, right? The problem is that if this person continues beyond the 20 minutes, and these are their words, then their body starts to stiffen up and feel pain again. But only initially, after moving the body, which exercise does move the lymph system around. It does get things moving. It's really in a condition when the acids are like stagnant. Like for example, when you first wake up in the morning, for people that feel stiffness all over their body, for people that are very acidic and inflamed, it's usually right when they wake up in the morning that they feel this pain. And then throughout the day, they feel better because they're moving their body. So exercise does move the lymph system, but the problem is that it also creates acids and cellular waste if the kidneys are not filtering. So then these acids build up, then the pain comes back even stronger, right? So I found that to be quite interesting. So with this person, exercise is not the solution. Long term, it would actually cause more breakdown of their knees, more breakdown of the body, right? So what I recommended to this person is you don't want to, you kind of want to slow down with their exercise, not completely right off the bat, because clearly this person has been using it as sort of like a coping mechanism for their pain for many years now, as well as the medications that they've taken. Supplements and medications, those are things that you don't stop or cut off right away if you've been taking them for a long time to manage your pain. That's not the smart thing to do. As a detox specialist, I'm very well aware that everyone needs individualized attention, and it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It truly depends. Like what the person's healing protocol looks like truly depends on their history. Where are they coming from? What avenues have they been with? Like what supplements? Like this person was taking homeopathic supplements. They've done surgeries. They've had numerous amounts of dental work done. Exposed to anesthesia. They have tons of mercury amalgams in their teeth. This person really is going to have to take a slower approach to detox. Probably still including maybe like a side of steamed vegetables at night with their salad and fruit throughout the day to take a slower detox approach. Because if you take a person like this and put them on 100% raw right from the get-go, they will start to experience detox symptoms that are too intense for them to handle. So that's not what we want. We want to slowly work people out of their health issues in a situation like this. Now, other people, they can move to 100% raw and do a faster approach if they haven't been on, like, let's say, many medications for pain. It's usually the people that have a lot of sulfur that tend to suffer the most in these cases. And in these cases, I do recommend a slower approach, just because sulfur from medications taken for years and years and years causes such a burning of the tissues and so much pain within the body that it's unbearable once this sulfur starts coming out, and once the tissues start healing. It is unbearable pain, but this is the only way to reverse the diseases or the health conditions of the body. Is you have to work, you have to unravel it all, and then you keep on digging deep, then all of these weaknesses that we see here in this eye will start lifting up. Any dark areas you see in the eye, that is tissue deterioration and degeneration. And this is what detox focuses on, it focuses on healing of tissue degeneration, which is why what I do is called regenerative detoxification. And this is where the true power lies, is the power of the fruits and the raw foods are the most electrically charged foods on the planet. A person like this can never ever heal with cooked foods. It is quite impossible, because they have already reached the stages of deterioration in their muscles, in their bones, and in their joints, that if they want to regain their health back completely, they must do all raw eventually, and maybe even all fruit eventually. But there is also a balance within detox as well. So not only does this person have a big leg weakness, they also have a big adrenal gland weakness going on as well. And if you see up here, they have a pituitary weakness. Now, this is interesting because this is a genetic weakness. This person's father, when they said in their health assessment, they said that the father had pituitary issues, so much so that all his glands shut down in his body. Now, the pituitary gland is responsible for all the other glands in the body. So in people that have a lot of gland weaknesses, I often check to see if they have a pituitary gland weakness causing the other symptoms in their body, because this person in particular complain about a lot of symptoms that are correlated with thyroid weakness. They're very cold, they have cold hands and feet, they have depression, they have low sweating ability. All these different things were pointing to thyroid weakness, but they don't necessarily have that big of a thyroid weakness right here. It's more so a big pituitary gland weakness that's affecting the thyroid. But they do have a double weakness hitting the adrenal glands, because you have, not only will you have to heal the pituitary gland to heal the adrenals, but you also have to heal the adrenals. So the adrenals have that double weakness that we see going on here. So let me see what else we have going on here. So right here, this person has a big heart weakness. That is a genetic weakness. It runs in their family. A very big thymus gland weakness. The thymus gland is responsible for, helping the lymphatic system and helping the main immune system. So in sulfur conditions, we see people that are very lymphatically backed up. This person has been having trouble moving their lymph system since day one. They told me their history when they were a young child. They had a fever. The only way that their family knew to respond, unfortunately, was with antibiotics. Back then, they didn't know any better. This person had a lot of medications that they took for their allergies back then. So children, they often exhibit symptoms of lymphatic congestion very early on, because that's when the body starts to accumulate waste. But then the body, it's not a bad thing. The body is really trying to expectorate all this mucus out so that conditions don't get worse in the future and pile up within the body in the future. But people, you know, unfortunately, even I at some point, even my parents at some point, they didn't know any better. They just went, you know, they just took me to the doctor, and the doctor recommended pills and medications, you know, to stop that cold and flu-like symptom, right? But over the years, this has caused this person even more problems, because with sulfur and with this deterioration of the bowels, you know, this person also complained of intestinal and stomach ulcers. So that results as well as weakness in digesting proteins too. But you know, the crazy thing about it is that when this person came to me, telling me their current diet, you know, people just don't know. People don't know. They were still eating things like hummus. You know, hummus is very high in protein. It does not have a place within detoxification if you're trying to heal, especially if you know, your stomach is so weak that you have to take HCl, you know, because you're not able to break down your protein. So in detox, you try to simplify the diet as much as possible, and it's always going to be a low protein diet, because the protein will just continue to damage the stomach and the colon, and it will put a big burden on the kidneys, stopping their filtration. And that's not what we want. We want to have a low protein diet. Remember, this is a cleansing time. It's not a rebuilding time. Rebuilding happens after we've cleansed the body of all these obstructions, because one cannot do both at once. One cannot detox and truly rebuild at the same time. Otherwise, they will stay on a plateau and not get any better, okay? So this is what we saw in this person. Let's take a look at the next eye. See what we have going on here. This eye is a little blurrier, but we can kind of see what's going on. So in both of these eyes, you'll notice that there's many nerve rings, and we'll always see nerve rings within an adrenal weakness. Always see nerve rings in an iris. And so people that have constipation issues always usually have nerve rings and an adrenal weakness, because the body is so weak that the nervous system is not functioning in the walls of the colon to move the stools along. You know, that peristalsis action is controlled by the nervous system and the adrenals. So that's the first cause of this person's constipation. The second cause is the losing the tone of their bowels. Their muscles have pretty much deteriorated to the point to where it's prolapsing and ballooning a lot in the bowels, and acids are the cause of that. This sulfur is the cause of that. So in this person's detox, during their journey, once they start releasing all these obstructions, they'll start to see orange and yellow in their stools, and it'll smell very sulfur-like. And that's when you know that you're getting the stuff out, and then you continue to get that stuff out, and then you can rebuild the colon and the tissue later on by strengthening the glands to utilize calcium, and it'll intake the calcium back. You know, things like kelp can help with that tremendously. The Bones formula, along with that, as well as addressing that pituitary gland weakness, can help rebuild the body. But first, you have to detox and cleanse, because you cannot rebuild the body on a shaky ground. You have to build it on a solid ground, right? So yeah, and also, oh my God, this person told me in order for them to have a bowel movement each day, they've been doing an enema nightly, every single day for a very long time, as well as taking magnesium citrate and isolate. That's not recommended, you know. I don't recommend isolated supplements at all, because what ends up happening is you end up bringing an imbalance to the body, you know, as well as vitamin C. This person was also taking vitamin C. That's the last thing you want to do in a body that's acidic and losing calcium. You know, if you're losing calcium, if you have bruising of your skin, if you can't even lift up, or like if your arms are very weak, or you can't go to the gym because your joints are hurting, and this person falls on the extreme level, right? You don't necessarily have to have all these symptoms that I'm mentioning to have a calcium utilization issue. but this person needs all the help they can get because they fall under that more extreme health conditions. But I've also helped people with moderate to, acute symptoms, and it's not as harsh or as severe of a protocol, and it also depends on the constitution of the person. But anyways, that's a topic for another video. But with this person, they told me that they're having trouble even lifting 1 or 2 pounds with their arms. They're so weak. Their muscles have deteriorated so much that there's no power there, So it's very serious. And even though they didn't have like a diagnosis of like muscular dystrophy yet or whatever, in reality, the name doesn't even matter. You kind of see the setup right here anyways. And that's very serious. That's extremely serious. I take that seriously. You just have to address all these weaknesses going on. So as well, this person, it kind of looks like they are, I would say maybe this is some cholesterol formation around here. I'm not sure if this is the lighting or not, but anyone that has low steroid or cortisol levels in their blood work always has a weak adrenal. And then what the body does in response to that, there's 3 ways that the body responds to major acidosis. It's cholesterol plaquing, calcium loss, which this person has, as well as edema. And in their family health history, their family, their father or mother, I believe, or their grandparents, they had edema in their legs, swelling, the body holding on to water, trying to buffer acidosis. So this person has a genetic disposition of holding on to acids in the legs in particular. So it's kind of, it's crazy. Like it's wonderful how we see everything that's going on in the body just by looking at the eyes. You have the lymphatic congestion issue with the thymus gland. You have the heart weakness right here that's genetic, and this person complained of like heart palpitations, arrhythmias, things like that. You also see this jaw weakness right here. Now that was an interesting one when this person mentioned to me that they have had issues with their jaw. They've had several wisdom teeth removed, the molars removed. They have a history of bad like dental health. Understandably, that is controlled with the calcium loss. There's an obvious correlation with that. But all the dentists that they visited, man, the dentists, they were always trying to figure out what was causing this person pain, because they also mentioned severe neck pain. This person has severe neck pain, so much so that they can only look forward. They can't turn their neck sideways. They can only look forward. And if they turn their neck slightly sideways for a few minutes, they will experience intense pain. So they always have to make sure it's straight forward. That's extremely bad. That points to muscle degeneration in the neck. And so there's several areas in the iris that are, that represent the muscular system. And this person has black deterioration in all of them. So that's another sign pointing to the muscular system being in deep trouble, major acidosis. So right here we see the jaw is black, deteriorating, very bad. Here we see the neck, the shoulder blade deteriorating as well. So the neck and the shoulder blade are also part of the muscular system. And we also see the colon, of course. The colon is made up of muscular tissue. So yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, as well as the forehead temple. That's also a big muscle, part of the muscular system as well. So everything is connected. And like I said before, with pain, you have to work clients slowly out of it. Detox is not a one size fits all thing. It's a very individualized, specific protocol that's going to be different for every single person. And this is why I recommend, especially people that have had trouble with their health for many years now, and they're kind of lost and don't know what to do. This is it. This is like the golden key to healing everything, because you see everything in the eyes, and you see everything with the symptoms in correlation correlation with that. And then you have the highest level of healing with the energetic electrical fruits that actually, instead of suppressing symptoms like this person has done all their life, now they'll be addressing the root cause, and they'll be removing all these medications that have caused them so much pain, that have caused their muscles to deteriorate. So this is like the highest level of healing. And what I recommend to people is the Master Your Health package on my services page. That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that's going to get everyone started on healing their body, truly healing it. And in the Master Your Health package, that's where I truly get to shine in making all the connections in the body and helping people understand. Even in our calls, I help you guys understand everything that's going on in your body, things that doctors have not been able to tell you, because honestly, they don't know. They actually do not know. This person, for example, has been told they have either fibro or lupus or Lyme's disease or arthritis. Doctors have been throwing around disease names for forever because they were perplexed. They were dumbfounded. They actually did not know what was going on with this person. And this was crazy. This person said that one doctor that she went to actually gave her a placebo shot to her spine because she was complaining of back pain. They gave her a placebo shot first to see if it was a psychological pain that she was feeling. And then when she wasn't feeling any better, they asked her, is the pain still there? Yeah, it's still there. Then they gave her the real steroid shot, and then the pain went away. And isn't that interesting? They kind of like mess around. And when doctors do not know what's causing someone an illness, their first thought is, well, if I don't know, then it just must mean that it's psychological pain. I mean, they're very, and I'm not trying to like bash all doctors, but most doctors have that mentality because they do believe that they are like the best healers in the world and there's nothing else out there. Some doctors have even told some of my clients like, what you have is incurable, so don't even go searching for a cure online or anywhere else because it's incurable. That is so sad, just like hearing that from a doctor and like crushing people's hopes and spirits when clearly there is an answer out there. The doctor just doesn't know. So I see this all the time, like doctors just messing with people, and it just makes me really sad, But that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you guys out of all these pain issues. I know because I myself was there before. A few years back, I was completely in full body pain and bedridden for many years with chronic fatigue, endometriosis, fibromyalgia, ultra sensitivity. I too, just like this person, was sensitive to everything under the sun. Light sensitive, sound sensitive, I couldn't even walk into the same room that someone had sprayed perfume in because I would start to have hay fever and my skin would start to itch and my lungs would start closing up and I couldn't breathe, That's how bad people are today in their illnesses. But then with Detox, I cleared all that stuff up, and today I'm perfectly healthy and I have the energy, to make these videos for you guys and to work with tons of you, with hundreds of people, helping them get their lives back. So let's see what else we can discuss about this, because like I said before, this person had many, many health issues. It was really extensive. But let's see what else we have going on here. Another thing to point out is this big pupil, it's quite dilated. When there's a dilated pupil like this, it also points to nerve rings. It points to a nervous system weakness, because with the nerves, it controls the dilation and constriction of the pupil. And when the nervous system is weak, the pupils will always be dilated and open. And if it's a normal size, and you can kind of see like when you point a light to the eyes, if the pupils constrict, but then they open up slightly to dilate, that's a weakened nervous system. But if you put a light to the eye and then they constrict and stay constricted, that's a sign of a good, strong nervous system, right? So this person has a weakness with that. So let's see what else we have going on here. I think I'm going to pull up some of their symptoms, some of their journey that they sent to me. just to give you guys a picture of, you know, the tough cases that sometimes come to me. Well, you know, now more and more often as people are truly finding out, you know, that the medical system and even naturopaths, like they just don't know. Their protocols that they prescribe to their clients, they're just not strong enough to get them out of these deep health issues and degenerative health issues. But like I said before, with true detoxification, it addresses deep degenerative issues like this person has. So let's see what's going on here. So yeah, we see here that this person used to have menstrual cramps. So that is a classic pituitary sign, like we saw in the iris, that pituitary lesion right there. And then heart palpitations. There's many different causes for heart palpitations. There could be lymphatic congestion and acidosis directly in the heart and the chest wall causing palpitations. There could be an issue with the stomach. You know, the stomach and the nerve ganglia is right there, and the nervous system controls the heart beating through the adrenal glands. So sulfur in the stomach wall can also cause heart palpitations, as well as a weakness in the bowel wall. We saw their bowels are completely destroyed, spastic, prolapsing, many bowel pockets. In the descending colon, it was very dark in their eyes. That is right adjacent from the heart region in the iris, and we saw that weakness correspond there. So let's pull this up right away, or here quick. You see right here, this and this, the descending colon, you see how spastic that is, ballooning and spastic, and that big heart weakness right there. We always see that correlation right there. As well as parathyroid, low function of parathyroid gland also can cause heart palpitations, because the calcium also helps with the valves, you know, and the closing and opening of the valves and the pumping of the heart. So this person essentially their heart palpitations can be caused by a combination of all these things. So that's why with detox, we have to address all the weaknesses, because you just don't know which one is having the most effect with that symptom correlation, right? So yeah, so let's see, exhausted, that's always adrenal glands. Irritated by noises around me, losing all muscles and legs, even though working out in the gym. Well, her muscles were deteriorating due to the severe acidosis and sulfur in her body. And then the pain happened. So this person said that they have seen about 40 doctors diagnosed with fibro, lupus, Lyme, SIBO, candida, multisystemic mold sickness. Now that's something that I wanted to discuss. A lot of people think that their illnesses are caused by mold, when in actuality, it's not the mold. It's the root cause of why the mold is in their body, because we so often see two people can be living in the same household. Why is it that one person is affected by the mold around them, but the other person is not? You know, not everyone is affected by mold, even when living in the same household. And I've seen that with the many clients that I've dealt with. That's happened, you know. Another client that I had, the girlfriend was fine, was okay, but then the boyfriend, he had an exposure of mold, and then his system started shutting down, but the girl was fine. And that's because of the lymphatic system. Now, since this person's lymphatic system was extremely congested, there was no way that this mold was going to be able to just go through the body and leave the body, you know, because mold is similar in that respect to like bacterias and viruses and you know, things like that. In someone that has a nice lymph system that's constantly pumping and cleaning the body and good kidney filtration, then viruses, bacterias, and mold and fungus just goes through the body and passes right out. Doesn't stick around to damage any tissues. But this is what we see. Mold sickness, it just drags the body down even more and making the person even more sensitive and causing more fatigue and pain in the body. So yeah, look, it's all about addressing the root cause. It's not to say mold caused my illness, you know. You have to remove all the obstructions, because this person is lymphatically backed up from head to toe, you know. So anything can be a trigger. Literally anything can be a trigger. chemical, perfume, any foods. This person couldn't handle foods, like different types of foods, for the longest time. And so they lost an excessive amount of weight because their diet was so restricted. They couldn't put a single food in their mouth without feeling horrible. So yeah, this is what happens. It's just interstitial lymphatic constipation from head to toe are the people with the most sensitivities. Chronic fatigue, adrenals, hypothyroidism, related to the pituitary gland, adrenal fatigue, TMJ, loss of calcium from the jaw. That's why this person had to go to the dentist. And yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought back there. But when I was talking about the dentist, they had told me that they were trying to find the root cause as to why their jaw kept on shifting. So what the dentist was doing was he was putting mouth guards in the mouth to try and shift the jaw. And also they told me that they put an injection, a numbing agent, an anesthesia, to remove the wisdom teeth. And this person said that when they were exposed to that anesthesia, for the first time in forever, they were able to move their neck again. Their pain completely left their body. Their legs were nice and warm again. Their feet were warm again. But then after a few minutes, the pain and all of that came back. And so before that, the dentist had thought that he had found the root cause of their health issues, because there are some dentists that do believe that there's a big correlation between the teeth, like certain different types of teeth, like certain molars, all having a connection with certain organs and glands in the body. Now, there's some truth to that, but in this case, it wasn't the removal of a wisdom tooth that was taking away her pains and her health issues. It was the fact that she was administered an anesthesia that temporarily sent her nervous system from the constant fight or flight, and the adrenals being constantly in fight or flight, to more of the rest and relaxation. Because people with weak adrenals are always in the fight or flight response. They're always on that side of the nervous system. But we want to shift it to the rest and relaxation. So, and that only happens in those with strong adrenals. People with weak adrenals constantly suffer from anxieties too. And this person has seen that as well. So I thought that was just very interesting. And even gave me more clues, like, okay, the nervous system, the adrenals are causing this person pain. The low steroid and cortisol in their body due to the weak adrenals. Low cortisol and steroid production, which this person has in their blood results, that also correlates to the pain that they're feeling. Because in a person, like in a healthy, normal person, the adrenals are supposed to produce anti-inflammatory steroids to keep acidosis in check, to keep the body from burning up the tissue from the acids, right? But this person has that severe weakness. So it's like their body didn't stand a chance. Their body didn't stand a chance with weak adrenals, weak pituitary, the sulfur drugs, the heavy metals, all those things. And then it brings about all these health issues. So let's go on. Bulging disc in lower back, L4, L5. The L4 or L5 problems always points to kidney weakness, guys. Severe pain in both knees, spinal stenosis, another calcium issue. Lower back along my muscles down the spine and neck. So pain all along there. Shins hurt as well as middle is back. Achy and restless legs sometimes. Restless legs, muscle twitching, that's all losing calcium from connective tissue. This person is very bad that they have to use stools all over their house, in the closet to get dressed, bathroom to get ready, kitchen to cook meals. They can't stand for long periods of time. So I can relate to this person because I was also in a similar situation with fibromyalgia. My own boyfriend had to help me walk to the bathroom many times because I just couldn't. The fatigue and the pain was just too strong. So I think that I pretty much covered much of what was said in the beginning part of the video. But, oh yeah, this is another one. White little spots that came on the legs over the last few years, like white freckles. That's fungal issues, right? And this is the interesting part. She has a small mass on the right foot. a small mass that when I saw the photo, it was a definite bone spur. Now, people that get these lumps, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like this ball. It's kind of hard, like that joint on the wrist, but they get it in areas that are not normal. So like sometimes people will get it right here or right on top of their foot, you know, or maybe like right behind their back, it'll be bulging, right? Older people tend to get it right here along their fingers. And these are calcifications. That's the body leaching calcium from areas to try and buffer acids. So her foot is a major issue in that area. Very acidic. Just her entire leg is very acidic. So it started growing that mass there. But with detox, it dissolves and it'll go away. You know, the calcium will either be reabsorbed by the body or just eliminated altogether by the body to create, you know, a smooth skin. So, and here's something else. This person did see minor improvements with the medical medium protocol. Now, the medical medium protocol is good for starting. It's a good introduction to the plant-based diet, to eating more raw foods. But someone like this can never heal with the medical medium protocol because medical medium protocol still includes things like spirulina in those heavy metal detox smoothies. Spirulina is a big no-no. Has way too much protein to help the body deeply detoxify. This is just what I see. It also includes a lot of greens and sometimes even cooked foods like quinoa, and that stuff just stops detoxification. Cooked foods have no place in regeneration of tissue, which this person's muscles are deteriorating, their bones and joints are deteriorating. They have to eventually be all raw in order to get out of this. And high fruit, as well as taking herbal formulas to help heal and reverse their genetic weaknesses. All those dark lines and lacunas in their eyes, that all of that has to heal, all of it, you know? So, and this was interesting. They used to be very athletic and muscular when they were a teenager, started gaining weight in their 20s, couldn't lose it no matter what they did, you know, pituitary weakness, affecting the adrenals, affecting sugar metabolism. Those that gain weight but have trouble losing it, they have a weak thyroid, which controls metabolism of foods, and they have weak adrenals, which controls sugar metabolism, which actually causes people to, you know, retain fat because sugars are in the blood and, you know, they're not able to be metabolized. So those are just more connections. And as much, you know, if you guys like tell me more information, I can do more connections. So I really appreciate that during our sessions and our calls together. So yeah, this person came to me with a list like of 30 different medications and herbs that they've been taking for a few months to a few years now, and that has been their way of coping. They mentioned that they had taken the Gaia thyroid support, that it felt fantastic the first 2 weeks, but then after that it stopped having effect. And why is that? It's because it's not strong enough. There's only maybe 3 or 4 herbs in that blend, but they wouldn't be the herbal recommendations that I recommend, you know. With the formulas that I use have many different herbs in them that work synergistically. Sometimes even 10 or more herbs that are going to be powerful enough to heal deteriorated glands and tissues. So, and also like we said before, it's a pituitary weakness, not a thyroid weakness. So that also correlated with them, you know, them still not feeling the effects from that after a few weeks. So yeah, all of this was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed, you know, having you guys take a look at the eyes and the case and the connections that I make within a case. And so if any of you out there are suffering and you know, you've lost hope, don't lose hope, because this is the way. True detoxification is the way to healing your body of all health issues. And definitely, if you want to work with me, I'm a detox specialist and an iridologist, and I use herbs and diet to create the perfect healing protocol, powerful enough to pull chronic cases out of pain and suffering and out of fatigue, to get your life back, to get your joy back, to have fun in this life. You know, it saddens me a lot when people are still young in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and even 50s and 60s. You know, you guys are still young. It just saddens me so much that people have been just written off by doctors, like, okay, it's psychological, or, you know, there's nothing we can do for you, it's incurable. Never, never, never think anything's incurable. Everything is curable. You just got to know the right information and have the right focus, and you can heal anything. So if any of you want to work with me, you can go to www.spiritropicalhealing.com, and in the services tab, I recommend for most people the Master Your Health package. That's going to bring everything to help you regain your health back, and I can't wait to work with all of you. So yes, thank you for the people that have, stuck around till the end of this video, and I'll be making more iridology videos very soon for you guys. Take care. Until next time. Bye.